we are back on with another weekly squeeze session. Sunday, 9 p.m. And great to see you, my friend.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend, and happy Father's Day to everybody as well.
Yeah, happy Father's Day. I think we'll do a quick sound check. But I don't know if we're going to have a lot of viewers today. Everybody, reached out to Karthik. I reached out to Kosh and Hamid, see if they want to join as well. But they all had the Father's Day plans.
Oh yeah, Kosh had plans as well. Is he not joining?
No, he said he had a. I can't remember what his excuse was, but he wasn't available. I think we're not going to have a lot of. I think a lot of people will review it after the fact.
So should we just do our regular stuff? Like, how many participants can you see? How many participants are there?
Right now we have one person joined. So
okay.
Whoever has joined, please give us a quick feedback on the sound. Really appreciate it. This is what I suggest, Karthik. I think we hit the point and keep it short and sweet. I think we're not going to have a lot of people join tonight. Just Father's Day situation.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's do that. You want to kick it off, and then I'll kind of take over.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for following us, and thanks for watching Weekly Squeeze. I'm E.O.Breakers, your host today with Karthik, and what we're going to do today is we'll quickly hit crypto, look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we'll go to market internals, look at the week, the trading, and then we come in and look at the money calendar as usual, the patterns for the last 10 years for this week. And see if there are some good trades that we can monitor for this week. Anything else, Karthik, you want to add?
No, that's perfect. I will be covering the directional bias for the market for the current week. I may go a little bit in depth in terms of identifying how my directional bias is for each of the market conditions. I'm looking at kind of various charts and I'll walk you through in detail in terms of the bias. I think this video can be helpful to review for a longer term for the folks who have not joined the session. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining us. Glad you're able to kind of join us today.
That's awesome. So let's start with crypto. Let me just change the screen for us. Guys, I think with Bitcoin, we're kind of like still in the range. The 31,000 to 41K is the range. We've been in this range with a little bit of bearish bias. Continue. So I want to see Bitcoin really hold up these levels of 35, 36K, and I want to see a move up to really just break 42K level. Then I think we could go towards new all-time highs. If we break down below kind of like the 30K level, psychological level, I think that's that becomes that really invalidates this bounce we had. We still maintain this higher lows and kind of higher highs in the bounce, but I really didn't like this last pullback. So we'll see how the market does this week. When I look at the weekly chart, I kind of like the support we found at these levels, and our market cipher is about to turn and give a weekly buy signal here. So that's what I'm looking at. So that's actually like kind of positive views, and then you kind of see the money flow and the VWAP coming towards the zero line. This green money flow a fat green money flow is good. So we want this to kind of turn like this and continue to stay fat. And obviously that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that, I'd like to see that. That means the bounce gets confirmed. Once that happens, we'll know the bounce is confirming. If the bounce doesn't confirm and this wave is really coming down like this, and the money flow is turning down, that means we are heading down to early 20s, which would be, I think, for me, for Bitcoin, the last to the downside to capture liquidity. I think it would actually be painful for a lot of people. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens and then we bounce back quickly and continue to a second cycle of I still expect a second bullish cycle for Bitcoin. That takes us to the 6 digits. But that's more like probably a little bit extended. If the whole market comes down and stock market and anything else is coming down, we have a little bit of crash situation this week and week after, I think Bitcoin would pull back the same way. I don't expect Bitcoin to act differently. Now, when Bitcoin is in a downtrend, obviously Ethereum is so different. Ethereum probably goes down a little bit more aggressively, and other altcoins as well. Let me just see the 30-minute chart for Ethereum. Yeah, I actually like how Ethereum recovered from earlier lows. So maybe an indication for tomorrow that we are bouncing back, but the wave is still to the downside. So I think we may be in this range a little bit for tomorrow. All right, let's do this. Let me turn to you, Karthik, for the market internals, what you're seeing, what you think, what you're expecting for this week.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, E.O. I know Silver joined as well. So thanks for joining, Silver. So what I wanted to cover today, a couple of things. As you all know, some of the major market events to watch for this week. Let me just go to the calendar here. We do this live as we do this. If you guys can see this, zoom in a little bit more. So this is the tradingeconomics.com calendar that I view every week to identify any big events that's going to affect the market for this week. So if you go back and scroll through, I mean, this gives you like all the world events as well, but I'm just mostly focused on the US events. So on Monday, I don't see much other than, I guess, the ECB president's Lagarde speech at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. This may have an impact on the euro US dollar if you're trading those currencies, but that's one big thing that's going on for Monday. And for Tuesday, there's some, I guess, regular existing home sales report around 10 a.m. and there is some Fed Treasury purchases kind of thing. And there's also some Fed speakers next week as well. Like you see 11 a.m. on Tuesday, Fed Daily speaking, and there's some testimony going on next week on Tuesday. So be cautious about where is it testifying? Let me check. I don't know where is doing the session, but looks like there's some testimony with Powell coming up on Tuesday at starting 2 p.m. So just be aware of some kind of volatility kind of going into the session 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Obviously, there's a regular API, crude oil reports and those kind of things after the market hours on Tuesday. I think Wednesday, I don't see much impact for the markets on, let me just scroll down here, I'm sorry. There's a US 9 o'clock, 9:10, there's a Fed Bauman speech. A bunch of oil reports coming out. Thursday, not much here other than I guess the jobless claims that comes out at 8:30 to be careful about. I guess some GDP reports as well for the Q1 that's coming up on Thursday. And obviously the core PCE, which the Fed looks at, I think should probably create some volatility for next week. Fed Williams again at 11 o'clock on Thursday. Looks like there's Fed Bank stress test results coming out on Thursday, 4:30 p.m. as well. So just be cautious of some of these kind of events going into next week. Would be kind of market moving events on some of the things that I look at. I'll go back and kind of highlight it here and kind of pinpoint some of these things which I've not had a chance to do it. So I'll update it like later in this session after we finish the session, so you guys can have the workflow link that I'll share with the group. So I'm taking, I guess Kevin is saying I'm taking more of a seasonal top is in view based on FIP folks. Confirmation, we'll have to confirm that. Yeah, that's a good point, Kevin. I think seasonality is one thing that everybody is looking at. The one thing that I want to address today is the directional bias of the market and how I use the directional bias, looking at the daily trends and identifying which way I need to trade on an intraday basis. As you all know, that I use first 2 hours to trade for an intraday basis, and then kind of look at swing positions for a longer term based on some of the markets and the indicators that I look at. So with that said, let me jump in. I may take 10 minutes here, EO, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
To kind of walk people through in terms of kind of how I use the VWAP on a daily time frame for the directional bias. So this is an ES chart that I've loaded right now. This is an ES daily chart. So the couple of things I look at daily and the 60-minute. Those are the two time frames I focus on for the clarity about the overall trend, and going into any particular given day to assess whether I need to be trading on the bullish side or on the bearish side. So those are the first thing that I look at. I look at the daily and 60-minute. And some of the flags that I look at, you see the flags here, the trend flags, I call them as trend flags, where the 8, 13, and 21 are the EMAs that I look at, and there's whether it's stacked positive or sideways. And wave is nothing but the 34 EMA wave, which is the couple of lines in here that I look at. So if these are the trend flag and the propulsion dots here, you see the red green dots. Let me go back here. See the green dots here and the yellow dots. These are something called as propulsion dots that I use to kind of identify the trend as well. So those are the two kind of things I look at. That gives me a quick and most objective view of the trend, if it's bullish or bearish, or if it's lack thereof, if there is sideways or that I don't need to be trading on that particular day. So another way to look at the directional bias that I generally use is the VWAP that I kind of anchor to a particular time frame. So if you look at here, this is something called as anchored VWAP the cyan lines here that I use to identify the trend for the day. This is the 10-day VWAP anchored 10 days back from the current date. I need to update that like every day, just going back 10 days. And the next one I look at is the daily, if I can draw this arrow right.
So how do you use that 10-day VWAP though? You use that as a resistance at this point, or how do you?
Yeah, I'll come to that, EO. I think so. There's two things I look at. One is the anchored 10-day VWAP, and then the next one is the anchored on the daily time frame. There's another like a what do you call the blocked cyan line, like a not like a dotted cyan line. The blocked cyan line is the VWAP that I anchor to the first of the month. So anytime when I look at this, and if it's trading below these two VWAPs, generally I am bearish for the intraday basis.
Okay.
So let me just come back to that. Like, let me just go back to NQ here, because if you look at NQ, if it can pop up, okay, right there. Okay, so you see the wave here, not the wave, the trend flags that I use, both are double green. So in this instance, NQ is bullish for me, number one, right? So double green is the daily, is a general long only directional bias for me, right? I mean, the probability for day trade buys, they have a higher success and follow through for the higher kind of prices. It does not mean that there won't be corrections lower, but for me, that's a directional bias to the long side. If it's double green, right? When it is double red, obviously it's a generally it's short only directional bias for me. So in this case, for example, like if I just maximize my candlesticks here so you guys can see where the price action is. So if you see the price action here, right? The price action is just kind of below the anchored VWAP for the 10-day and the anchored VWAP for the monthly. So it's kind of trading below this. So this is kind of a gray area for me, right? Like if it's between the 10-day VWAP and the monthly VWAP, so that's kind of a grayish area. So I don't know which direction I want to trade, but I would rather leave this market once it comes above these price levels or below these price levels to get my directional bias, right? I mean, even though it's a double green, for me, it could, for an intraday basis, and I kind of get bullish, but you have to be cautious in terms it can move in any price direction. So generally, kind of want to keep it on the long side, but you look at it, trade cautiously during these conditions when the market is in the gray area. It can come down. This could be act as a support, etc., right? Now, the next one I look at is the yellow wave flag. If you go back to ES, the reason why I want to go in a little bit in depth in terms of kind of how I view the markets right now, I guess everybody wants to know which direction the market is headed, right? I mean, the only way to determine that I have found is to use these flags and these indicators to assess, are we open to long only or short only or two-way trading, which some people kind of do. But I'll kind of say, okay, in this case of ES, for example, right? ES is double yellow, which is the yellow wave trade flags. This opens the door for the two-way trading, which is kind of, you can open both to long and shorts. But for me personally, I will never be a two-way trader in a single session. So I will kind of look at the markets at the beginning of the day and either open to being shorts or longs for that session, right?
Yeah.
So how and when would I switch to being open to shorts, right? These are some of the minimal requirements that I look at. So if you see here, right, are we getting 3 red grab candles? In the case of ES, no, we don't see 3 red grab candles. What are red grab candles, right? Basically, these are green, red, and blue candles, the indicator that I use to identify whether to trade them in a bullish or a bearish direction. So are we getting 3 red grab candles? No, in case of ES, right? Are we below the current month anchored VWAP? The answer is yes, because you look at this cyan lines, we are below that. Are we below the 10-day anchored VWAP? After we anchor it, like yes, the dotted lines are the 10-day anchored VWAP. We are below that. So the next one I ask question for myself is the 8/31/21 flag, is that red, right? If you look at here, no, it's not red for me, right? It's a
that's your EMA
side,
right?
Yeah, it's a sideways distribution chart. So in this instance, I am not going to use this for a bearish directional bias. So to just not contradict, but like to just go one step further, if you could go look at YM, for example, right? Let's take that as a basis. So what's the read on this chart, guys? Look at this, right? I mean, the 8/31/21 is bearish, and you have the wave as sideways distribution chart, right? So you have 3 red grab candles. That's the first criteria that I use, right? 3 red grab candles. And then are we below the VWAPs? Yes, we are below the VWAPs. And the 8/13/21 is bearish. So in case of YM, I am generally bearish, right? I am going to look for bearish situations to trade YM in that direction, on for an intraday basis only, because I need to see bearish and wave to be also be red to make sure I trade them short or bearish. If both are double red, then I'm generally trading in bearish direction. So that's kind of the high level that how I read the charts for YM, ES, and NQ. So NQ, you can go back and look at and say trade them on an intraday basis to the long side, and also use some of the relative outperformance in some of the sectors that I'm watching to be kind of like QQQ, XLK, or XLC. Pick relative outperformance in those sectors and trade them on the long only basis for the NQ. Whereas for ES, I will leave that alone and look at it on an intraday basis. But YM is definitely bearish for intraday. So if you ask me, I'm going to just use YM as the basis and trade YM to the bearish side.
Yeah, Karthik, let me do the same things with Market Cipher if you want, just to see direction I see on it.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
hope that makes sense to everybody. If you have any questions, please type it in. I can kind of expand that a little bit deeper.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. So YM on the daily chart. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I look at this. We had a divergence on Market Cipher right at the top here. We got a sell signal right around here. The red dots here, the money flow coming down. So it actually perfectly caught the reversal signal here. I think Market Cipher is kind of on the daily at least. Probably this is daily chart. So a few days time, it is indicating perhaps a bounce. We'll see how that goes. But I am with you on this. It's a slight M pattern here, and also a downtrend. Obviously very clear with the DMI, as you can see on the shorter term, very bearish, with really turning into yellow to green. So it is coming down to perhaps this level where we are is going to turn into support. But anyhow, the bearish bias, the same way money flow, stock RSI, etc. SPY, I'll look at ES as well. as you guys know, I did a put butterfly right, I think Thursday when we got the signal. So we had a little bit of divergence coming in, and then when we got this market side sort of momentum wave turn here, and the stock RSI turn and the VWAP turn, this is where I shorted, guys. It's, you know, did a butterfly, great risk reward trade on SPY, and the next day it just went like this. That's pretty good. You know, we may get a little bit of you know, perhaps positive open, but tomorrow. But I expect this move to continue to the downside until we complete this momentum wave in market cipher. So that may be a few days this week. So that may take us down to like 411 or something like that on SPY.
The money flow looks like pretty green though, right? You don't see any divergence in.
So I think in the longer term, this is a pullback, not necessarily trend change.
Yeah.
But it's a sharp pullback. So we need this part of the way I see it, like we got indications of reversal for multiple times, and then finally it happened. And with the VWAP turn, and we need this daily momentum wave to come down and complete the turn. So that means this week I am, when it comes to ES and SPY, this week I still maintain a kind of bearish perspective until this wave is complete, unless something happens and this wave is a very small one here and it turns. But I do expect, I think we will go test down these levels here, 413, 411, come down here, a couple more days of down trend here. Look at all the EMI shorter term. Yeah, and Ku again, I think a little bit indecisive, but still on the bullish trend. Because I can see exhaustion signs here, but you know, money flow is all green. VWAP is on the 0 line, so and a little bit pointing to the down. So we may have a slight pullback, but then you know, continue the uptrend. This the chart overall looks very bullish. Even though these red dots on the market cipher, you can see clearly some more down pressure is coming, but all of the down pressure is met with demand and positive flow. The shorter time frames are bearish, and then the longer term time frames, daily and weekly, are just more indicative of continuation of a stronger move. All right, let me turn it back to you to go back to your flow. I don't know what other things you wanted to cover before we...
Yeah, sure. So I just want to summarize this. Let me just go back to the screen here. So to summarize it, so if it's a double green versus double red, and if it's sideways market, so just be cautious in terms of which markets you're trading on a daily basis for intraday versus for the swing purposes, right? So you can see if these conditions are met in your situations. This applies not only for indices, you can apply this for even for any of the stocks that you're going to follow these conditions, see if it meets the criteria, and kind of trade them accordingly. I mean, you can always avoid the wackiness of the transitional markets and just stay flat until all the criteria are met. If you're unsure kind of if any of these conditions are not met, you know, just stay flat. And you know, cash is always a position as well. Being flat is you know, is always a position. You can kind of go back and figure out if the market sets all the directions are clear, then you can kind of like NQ, for example, if it comes in kind of looking at my VWAPs and point of control here coinciding, if the price comes down to these levels, generally I will definitely get bullish from an NQ situation and pick relative outperformance in those sectors and relative ETFs and stocks in those situations. So one thing that I've not done, I mean, I've laid out a few numbers for you guys. So you can watch these numbers here for the various kind of indices, all the 4 indices. The one thing that I've not done is to identify relative outperformance for the stock. That I'll kind of go back and do that tonight to see if any of the stocks we could play here from a sector perspective and identifying relative outperformance in those sectors. So with that said, there's one small thing that I want to cover is the sector sentiment that I look at. Zoom in a little bit. So if you look at the sector sentiment here, you see this is the XLB. The green line is the oversold kind of indicator, meaning it's kind of a bullish. So if it's the red line, it's exhausted. The green line is where basically if it comes down, is generally you can kind of look for bullish situation. So in case of XLB, you could kind of look at stocks to focus on the long side. Same thing with financials. I know they got beaten up last week with all the FOMC news and other things going on. But if you look at this XLF sector, I think we can kind of figure out going into earnings, there may be potential XLF a bullish directional bias to trade in that direction for XLF. There's one other thing I wanted to kind of point out. Oh yeah, the industrials, for example, is also kind of giving a sentiment, bullish sentiment right now. So it's almost oversold. So you can look for kind of stocks that kind of goes in the bullish direction and trade that in that respective direction here. So these are some of the things. I mean, some of the other things like biotech is kind of heated up here. So it's almost it's they're overbought, I should say. And then look for cooling off before you kind of get into that. I mean, they're buying the IBB stocks and XLY, which is basically your Amazon and Tesla. That's kind of neutral. Energy is kind of pulling back, so you can wait for the sentiment to kind of reach to the oversold levels to get long. The mining stocks looks coming down to the kind of the bullish region here for us. But look at this as well. I mean, the XLK you see here, I mean, this is not looking good. They're still buying it, but it's kind of in the overbought condition. So you just need to make sure it cools off before you get into kind of getting long. Is the way kind of I look at some of these sectors and that's how I use this sentiment, sector sentiment that I follow. Hopefully that helps for the folks who are looking at different markets and different sectors. But I'm happy to kind of update my watch list for the bullish and bearish watch list going into next week. This workflow will get you updated for those stocks that I'm going to be looking at.
Well, I think that was really good. Should we take a look at the money calendar as well?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I know I looked at the Stock Traders Almanac, which is kind of bearish for the week I guess for the upcoming week. So it would be helpful to look at the money calendar as well.
Yeah, so if you guys take a look at the money calendar, and those of you who know, it's basically looking at the last 10 years of data and see bullish or bearish bias for the week. Green, obviously, indicative of bullish, kind of orange, yellow, and reddish is bearish. So we have this early part of the week indicative of a little bit of a soft week. So we'll see how that live this week. But then the rest of the month is green. So let's take a look at the money calendar list. If you look at the we still have Google. Again, for potential trade, 100% of the time, last 10 years, we had a profitable trade. So you buy June 21st and sell July 22nd. This was a profitable trade last 10 years. Same thing. Let me see. Yeah, that's Google. Let me do the 100%. So now we have, what is LMT? This is a solid trade as well, June 21st, July 26th. I'm just curious of the chart. So, what is LMT? Oh, that's Lockheed Martin. Interesting. So, what was your sector analysis for, I guess, defense, like Lockheed Martin type?
Let me just.
Is it an oversold? You want to take control and just take a quick look?
Yeah. Let's see. LMT is defensive, right?
Hey, is it under industrials or?
No, I think probably it comes under XLI. I'm not really sure kind of the sentiment for XLI. LMT is part of ITA, right? Like, give me 1 second. Let me just go here.
Lockheed Martin would be like high-tech defense.
Get my sector.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me give me 1 second. Let me just look up my ITA.
Although the 4-hour chart doesn't look very good.
Okay, here's my defensives relative outperformers in the ITA, which is the ETF for the aerospace and the defense sector. Yeah, it looks good actually. To just looking at the sectors here, it looks pretty good from a standpoint of the sector ETF.
Yeah.
Coming into this zone is a good pullback zone. I think if you ask me, where is LMT here? Oh, I don't see. Okay, LMT is here. I mean, for me, I think, I know it's showing bearish and sideways. You could kind of buy the oversold around, I don't know if this will pull back to here, the 370 region, right? Oh, it's trading at 379. So anything between a 370 level could be a buy, could be a buy zone actually here at 370.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's what you're looking at, but I think that.
Let me show you. I love that. We have the confluence between you and I. So right now it's still bearish. Well, look, daily, I expect this thing to come down. The VWAP is down. The money flow is coming down. It needs to complete a wave here, another wave, probably this. It's. I agree with you. I think this has a few more days of a pullback. Early 370s would be a buy zone. This is where potential buy zone. So, but money calendars, they, basically looking at data with these entry and exits. So interested to see. Sometimes, you click on these things, you see the pullback. Let me see. You see, there's a pullback. Last year, at least, it did a pullback and then came back up and above it. So perhaps let me see what it did the year before. That was the year before is you would be better off just buying tomorrow. Now, same the year before that, it was a pullback, slight pullback. So, all right, yeah, Karthik. I mean, I think LMT, we look at it, if it comes down and hits, 370, 375 zone here, it's probably a buy and align with money calendar.
Yeah, perfect. So now, I just pulled the daily chart for me. It's exactly right. So we could kind of get in this zone there. This is the 200 propulsion dot EMA for me here around 370. And that coincides with this Darvis box that I look at, could be a good support zone where we could potentially look for long. And with my yellow sideways markets, what I look at is, okay, I look at another indicator, which is stochastics, or the Ready Aim Fire Pro, where it can give me like an oversold levels. So you could kind of buy it at that zone with that confirmation of RAF signals as well. So that would be kind of ideal, yes. Is that a 90% kind of?
100%. LMT.
It's 100. Okay, let me write that down. That's a good stock to keep a tab on.
So we should monitor this week LMT, Walmart. So Lockheed Martin, Walmart, Visa, DIA, JPM, XLV. I think those are the ones I would look at.
Okay, can you put that list on your link as well? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's on the website I posted, actually. So I think I sorted by, I sorted by 100% as well. But the ones that you want to look at the power meter as well in toms, I kind of go with the high power ones, just for a momentum move. So Google is one, Visa is okay, 72 is still good. LMT is good, and Walmart is good, 3 power. So these are all 100%. Actually, let's take a look at the Walmart chart really quick. Yeah, Walmart is the same way. It needs to complete this daily momentum wave. So I wouldn't enter tomorrow, but we need to complete this pullback. I suspect the general softness next weeks probably will play out for all stocks, and then midweek we should look at buying into some of these money calendar trades potentially.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think one thing would be helpful for, I think, me personally, and maybe helpful for other guys as well, is to look at, the July, how does the money calendar look for July? Because going into June, the quarterly kind of shenanigans that happens at the end of the month, we may kind of be a little bit bearish next couple of weeks, mildly bearish going into it, and see if we can pick some stocks up which are relative outperformers for the playing for July, coming up in July. So
July first 2 weeks, where I guess the end of month and the first week of July still looks pretty bullish on the money calendar.
Okay. Do you mind posting that as well? Keep that. I just want to kind of, as I prepare for next month, we can kind of have that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I did that last week as well, but it's here, so you guys can take a look.
Okay.
Okay. So I think LMT chart was slightly a better chart than Walmart, and between the two, if I were to pick, I would wait for LMT pullback. Let me see, go back to the list just to make sure we finish up. Oh, the other one was Visa. I want to take a look at Visa because it fits into your sold sector price, I think. The FS sector was oversold looking, right?
Right. Yeah. Financials was kind of oversold, potential bullish sentiment.
Yeah, this looks good. So DMI, green DMI, but again, it is also in a pullback. VWAP is turning. Stock RSI is about to turn. Yeah, I think it also has a few days of pullback, but the longer term, daily, weekly, monthly, is green. I think so. Where we are, so 230. So this thing comes down to. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to the 618 level, 226. Perhaps this zone here, 226 to 223, would be a great buy for Visa or a bounce back. It's still fast, really low. I expect this to, I think this 226 level. What does it show on your charts for Visa?
I can just quickly switch the stream here. So this is my kind of view on the on Visa. The dark blue line is my 50-day SMA. So it looks like that's acting as a support here. So if that acts as a support, and if it stays about 50-day, and there's some 34 EMA wave congruence here as well. So this is kind of a good place to kind of, if it hangs around these area, we could potentially look for long. But one thing to keep in mind, obviously, this is a sideways market, meaning look for kind of the oversold regions. In this instance, if I draw a box here, somewhere, I mean, there's no support here until coming back to 220, which is $10 down here, which is the next Darvis box support, which should kind of coincide with my ready aim fire kind of coming down to the oversold region. But if the 50-day acts as a support, as you can see here previously, if the 50-day has acted as a support for Visa here. So I think if it holds here, I think it's pretty good in terms of a kind of a bullish trade for me.
Perfect. All right, let's see. I think we leave it at that for money calendar. The other thing we were should we look at the squeeze scan?
Yeah, if you see if any big, maybe some bearish as well as bullish scans would be helpful. Any top 2 picks maybe.
Yeah, we could do a blood diamond scan. Although the blood diamond scan for Tesla didn't work.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's a game of probabilities, as you know, right? So
I would have liked so like one thing I learned about the blood diamond trades I have to have a really tight stop. Like if it doesn't go in the right direction immediately, you want to just get out of it. There's no point to stay in it. Because the ones that work, they actually do work in a good way. So the ones that don't work, you just want to get out of it if it's not moving immediately to your direction. Wow, so we have all of these. So Costco is here. Let me just see Costco. Here's my chart. I think I did a 4-hour scan. Yeah, it's unfortunately it's a regular candle blood diamond, so I wouldn't take it too seriously. CCI, is there anything else interesting here to you?
I'm just flipping through. Costco looks fine for the long side for me, but yeah, not a bearish trade.
I wouldn't take it seriously for Costco. Yeah, it's for 4 hours. Let me see the daily scan. There's again CME group. So yeah, it's the daily blood diamond on MGen. So, and we have a red dot and overbought situation. So this may have a follow through potentially. And it's making kind of getting under the trend line.
Yeah, it's a biotech stock, right? So it can move on any news here, but
yeah, that's the only. But this thing has a. So if I were to look at this with the, so one thing I do with blood diamonds, I try to see how did it react to it in the past. Like, was there a blood diamond, and how did it react? Look at this guy. Last time we had a blood diamond daily chart on this. This was a massive move. Karthik, I would take this seriously. This one had a massive move last time, and it doesn't happen very often, so that's good as well. So
Yeah, one thing that I struggle with is biotech stocks is like, that anything can happen with that moves.
yeah. Well, earnings coming up, right? So this thing as end of July earnings. How does it react to it? I'm actually too far away. But it looks like, yeah, too far away. But if it reacts, I don't know, maybe I'll do a very cheap butterfly down here. Or I'm done. All right. What was the other one? Oh, there's PepsiCo. So I'll just post this. Post this blood diamond scan. All right, so blood diamond scan, and then let me just look at PepsiCo as well. Let's see how it looks. Wow, this one I like a lot more. This is actually a perfect setup, guys. Look, previous blood diamond move. We are at a major resistance level. Guys, this is a perfect short. So you always ask me like what I look at. I like bigger waves coming down. So you have this money flow turning down, VWAP already under zero line, and stock RSA down. This is so I would do, where did it close? What did it close at? 146 something? So yeah, within this scan, this is one I like for a potential chain like reversal trade. But it's probably, there could be like a 10-point move here.
Yeah, just be careful of the July 13th is their earnings before market open.
Yeah,
so just
you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Just be careful, like if you're playing to the short side. I think in these market conditions, you want to keep your trades in a day or two, or maybe trade it on an intraday basis. Considering.
Well, but last three earnings. So July 13, how many weeks? Yes. I guess this went up, but these were like all down. Interesting. Okay, all right. So there's no consistency there, but the blood diamond here, there was a move like this, the last blood diamond. So if it does a similar thing here, so you would do a 50% retracement level, which is, it would still be its range for it. We'll see. I mean, there's a volume support at 143 level, but it's possible this thing would go down to 138 level. And I'll just post this because I like how the VWAP and the red dot here, trigger wave. This is like a perfect market site for a sell signal.
Oh yeah.
Resistance level. I mean, this is a perfect setup.
If you look at CAT, right, that was the exact setup for CAT and ADM. That's the one is happening in Pepsi right now. So
Karthik, look at this. I mean, there's also weekly sell.
Okay.
This has of higher time frame. It's also weekly sell. Yeah, this thing, this could come come down. Interesting. All right, I'll post that. I'll post it here so far we can measure these analysis, the results of this these types of analysis.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's one of the dividend-paying stocks too. Can have some, you know, they may not pull back as far as you expect with these dividend-paying stocks. You never know.
Yep. All right, a quick squeeze scan. Let's see. Where's our squeeze? I think. Let's do the red dot squeeze, or let's do orange dot squeeze. Am I set up for daily? Yep, daily. We have Etsy. Oh, we have PepsiCo squeeze. That's also.
It's an orange dot squeeze on the daily. So.
Is there any other big name? Oh, MasterCard. Look at this. Oh. So this is weekly. Where's daily? Yeah, this is a daily support, and this thing could fire to the upside. Let me see. Where's my squeeze? Let's see. Look at this, Karthik. So obviously this is a 5-minute chart, but look at all the squeezes this thing has. So MasterCard, guys, massive squeeze. Even at 195, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, this thing is gonna fly. Did JC take any positions on MasterCard?
No.
This is his perfect setup. Look at this. It's a bullish daily EMA stack up. EMAs coming together in a very tight range. I might do a trade on this, guys. I hope I can trade this. I didn't check MasterCard in my list, but this may be interesting, Karthik.
Yeah. You're looking for the long side, right?
Yeah. Look at the long side. What does your chart? Does your chart confirm the long side firing of a squeeze potentially?
Let me look.
In the meantime, I'll look at it. I mean, the squeeze histogram is coming up to the zero. Like this thing could fire any moment. I don't know, guys. I'm gonna look at this like tomorrow. Definitely, I might take a position. Just again, small size. These days, I'm doing mostly cash and small size trades. Then
yeah. No, for me, I think I need to go back and check. There were a bunch of options flow call buyers in this name, I think, in MasterCard. I need to go back and double check that. But I think the one thing that I'm watching here is this 50-day moving average here, right? Like you see this blue line here, it's 50 days. So it's been kind of trading in this range here. So let it kind of confirm. I know it's not a good thing to say, but like you could kind of potentially buy, but I think this could be a big resistance. If the 50-day clears, you could probably look for some upside. I'm not sure when's the.
It'll be too late. Like this is squeeze is catching us right now, catching this.
Yeah, right.
Squeeze would catch it like right now, and it is in a tight range. That's why like this thing when it fires, this has a probably good $10-15 move. Interesting. I will take a look. I might take a risk before it fires. It's a little bit riskier, but the other thing is we could wait. I mean, we could wait. I'm just looking at.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, it's been sideways after this pop up. I mean, yeah, you would want to trade in the bullish basis. I think any kind of potential butterflies or any cost-effective way of playing this name would be kind of. I will probably follow you on that.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is probably I'll do half position, and once confirms, I might add into the other half. That's what I'm gonna do. So like just the squeeze trade looks so good. I mean, there's also weekly squeeze, right? It's just getting into tighter squeeze on weekly as well.
Yeah, I'll watch for the flows next week as well. Like if anything kind of big buyers come in, we can kind of jump on the bandwagon with them. If any big kind of with big guys coming behind this name.
I like it. I like that. And I think Kevin wanted us to run a 4-hour scan. I can't remember on the blood diamonds. Actually, let me just post this squeeze scan first.
This orange dot squeezes, right? I mean, I don't know. I have not studied them, so I know Henry.
It's the tightest narrows, so it's more explosive.
Right. So I can't tell you which direction it's going to kind of fire at this point.
But we look at the trend direction. EMA stack up prior to this narrow squeeze where the EMA kind of jumbled up a little bit. That's a perfect JC setup. I'm surprised that you hadn't caught up on this.
Yeah.
Maybe the other thing is that we have to be cautious with the general market direction. When I see, potential SPY further pull down, stuff like that. It's just. But I think MasterCard. I'm gonna take a proper risk with MasterCard. It's just if we find a good risk reward, All right, let me just go back to Blood Diamond and do a 4-hour scan for Kevin. Oh yeah, we did do 4 hours. So Blink, Costco, I didn't like the chart. It wasn't a true blood diamond. First Solar. Blink. So CCI. So these are. So I'll do the 4-hour for Kevin. Save that. Yeah, I should put 4 hours. Let's very quickly look at Blink. I like this MasterCard chart, guys. Yeah, I do. I mean, there may be a little bit of pain here when it, gyrates here, but overall making it, higher lows and higher highs, right? So anyhow, so we'll I'm going to continue to look at that. What did I say I was going to look at?
The blood diamond for Kevin, the 4-hour blood diamond scan.
Yeah, Blink. I was going to look at Blink.
Okay.
Which had the 4-hour blood diamond. Yeah, it's not a blood diamond, but it has a red diamond. I guess blood diamond, regular candles, probably. Yeah, okay. Regular candles, blood diamond, but hypernasty is. I don't know. I mean, it is. I like blood diamonds and red diamonds when it's close to resistance levels like this, because it's and then you see this big momentum wave coming down. But money flow hasn't turned yet, but VWAP has. So the other chart I showed you guys, was it PepsiCo? I can't remember. That was like perfect setup where VWAP was under 0 and momentum wave was turned. Even the money flow was indicative of, it was fat green, but it was indicative of turn. This looks very similar. The pullback on this one may not be as severe as PepsiCo. On this one, you could probably come down to $5 move potential here to the downside. This is, if you guys take a look at it, this isn't a range, right? This is a major resistance right here, where it is close to, and the bottom of that range is down here, early 30s. So this could just continue to the symmetrical move it has done. So Blink could come down here. Blood diamond might be the red diamond in this might be a good kind of indicative, and a market cipher kind of highlighting the divergence here. It had actually a trigger sell sign right here at 41. Yeah. I don't know, Kartik, I think we covered a lot for tonight. What else is on our agenda?
No, I think that's all I had. I just wanted to kind of end with saying that the SPX, the expected move for this week is, close to, I think, plus 75 to the upside, minus 75 or so, close to that level. So get your big boys pants on. Anything could happen next week. I mean, last week, if you look at it, it broke to the downside on Friday. So anything could kind of happen next week, is what I want to say. So just stick to your process and trade setups, and just focus on your process rather than the outcomes, and trade small if you think it's bearish, and we can figure out when the cloud clears, we can kind of get back and get bigger position size. So stick to your process, guys. That's all I wanted to say to end my kind of thing.
Good. Thanks everyone for joining. Wish everybody a great success this week. Hopefully what Kartik and I shared is helpful to everybody. We enjoy sharing our ideas. Let's make lots of money this week. Wish you guys best week and a great time this week. Have fun. Enjoy trading as well, right? Don't put yourself in situations where you're not enjoying it. Yeah, otherwise this thing just adds additional stress to your life. So don't let that happen. Position sizing, staying with your trading rules. Kartik said it best. I mean, that's the way to go.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining, and thanks E.O. for
thanks, Kartik.
Session tonight. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.